Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you part 1 of our post and beam refinishing project. We decided to try something completely different with these. We don't do these kind of renovation projects usually. I try to stick to paint and simple things. I've never done anything quite this complicated before. And so we decided to be brave and try new things. So let's see how it goes. So let's take a look back at what was there before. It was a shiplap stained in like a honey oak color, which makes filming kind of difficult. It casts this kind of orange hue in all of my shots, which is hard to edit out. So I wanted to kind of update that and bring it to more of our style and to match the island and knee walls that I've already refinished. And we were originally going to wrap that in more of a solid board and real wood, but decided to do something a little bit thinner so it didn't add as much visual bulk to the room. Because when we started taking off the shiplap off the posts, we noticed that it felt visually a lot larger. So I didn't want anything that would kind of clutter that space or make the beams seem any bigger than they were. That's when I settled on what they call Luan, which is just a very thin plywood. It's only about 1/4 inch thick. It comes in a 4x8 sheet. It only cost about $27 a board, which means that if we messed up a few of our cuts, it was okay. We had a little bit of room for error without spending a lot of money like it would be if we had like $30 per actual board and needed that for like 4 sides of the post. So we would be able to get 2 whole posts out of 1 sheet of this Luan, and it would take I think 4 sheets for the beams across the top. So that's what we did. We decided to purchase just the one for now and see if we even like the look. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on. Before we keep going here, I do need to tell you a little bit of a story. So when we went to purchase this, I made the mistake thinking that this 4x8 sheet would fit in our SUV. Now it doesn't. Tommy tried to warn me. He was right, I was wrong. Shh, don't tell him that. So take the time to measure the vehicle that you are hoping to put it in, because it didn't work. We are so thankful that when I left to come get our van, that hopefully it would have fit in that, because I don't even know that it would fit in that, that a neighbor with a truck happened to be at Lowe's at the same time and said, do you need a ride? And picked Tommy and our board up and brought him home for me. So, measure before you go and purchase the board to make sure that you have a vehicle large enough to bring it home. Now let's get back to our video. Then I waited until we had nice enough weather to go ahead and stain the board before we even cut it, just to make it easier. I don't like to stain in the house if I can avoid it, because it makes it smell absolutely awful in here. And then it's also not a bunch of little itty bitty sides that I'm trying to stain. It's one whole large sheet. And I found that with the Lawan, the best thing to stain it with is the terry cloth staining sponges that you can get at Lowe's. They're like $4 for 2 of them. It worked the best, and make sure you use the pre-stain so that it doesn't absorb a lot of your stain. And then I used the Red Oak by Minwax, which is the same color that I used for the island and the knee walls, because I like the color so much, and it only took 1 coat of stain to have the color that I desired for the finished product. Now, I wouldn't use cheesecloth with this product because it, I noticed when I was using it to like wipe off the stain, it was leaving a lot of lint behind, and so I had to just kind of deal with that. And then once it dried, I took just a dry, cheap paintbrush, like a 3-inch paintbrush, and just dusted it off, and it came right off. But I don't even want to have to deal with that next time, so I'm gonna take just an old terry cloth washcloth and wipe the stain off that way, so I can avoid that altogether. After 1 coat, it now matches the knee walls and the island and things like that. I still got to do a clear coat, but this has to cure. And now we're gonna let those clamps sit for 30 minutes while those liquid nails cure, because we are not putting any type of nail into the system. And then once we get all the sides done, then we are going to take some wood filler and stain and finish the corners. Now we are gonna work on this side right here and the opposite side so that we can clamp them at the same time, since we only have 2 clamps. So let's get going. Now when we were clamping the Luan to the post, we did utilize some of the old shiplap that was already on there so that it wouldn't dent the Luan, and it would make a good seal and press the liquid nail all the way down and make good contact, but we did not want to dent the Luan so that it would distribute that pressure from just this little bitty circle to this whole thing, because I don't know if you can see it, but there is a little bit of a dent from the clamps from putting these on there. So I'm glad that we decided to do that so that it's not on the piece of Luan. There are several tools that we use to accomplish this project. That includes a circular saw, a level, a multi-tool, clamps, a measuring tape, a caulk gun, liquid nails, clamps. The more of these, the better. We didn't quite have enough. We only had 2. I would prefer actually to have about 6 of them, because that really slowed us down, because with liquid nails, they need to be clamped for about 30 minutes for that to set before you can remove the clamps. And so I want to pick up more of those before we finish this project. And then we also used a drill because we did need a hole for the wire for our thermostat. Other than that, the only other tools you might need are any tools to remove whatever current covering you have on your post and beams if you're removing that covering before you're starting this project. And the multi-tool was fantastic for cutting out. We have a light switch on one of the sides, things like that. It makes cutting out little things like that a breeze. It makes it a clean cut without having to drill a hole and then take a jigsaw. I really like the multi-tool. It makes a lot of little jobs very, very easy. This project was much more difficult than we thought it was going to be. We did mess up several of our first cuts, trying to figure out exactly how to measure, things like that. The blade got pinched, it chipped the board. Before we do our next few cuts, we're going to get a different blade that has smaller teeth, is something that was recommended to us. And then we're also going to cut with a full actual table instead of just the sawhorses, so that we can avoid the bend in the middle of the board, which was throwing off some of the measurement in the middle, and measuring along the entire cut line, not just at the beginning and end. We want to make sure that we are accurately measuring the entire cut needed, both on the post or beam and on the board that we're cutting. We noticed that some of the posts here in the house were a little bit wider at the top than they are at the bottom, so we want to make sure we note that if that is the same on any other cuts before we make them. Overall, I really like the look. It really cleaned it up a lot. I like the smoothness. I love the color. And I can't wait to see it once it's all done. I will bring you along for part 2 and let you know how it goes once we change it up. For the next section, when we do the actual beam part of it, we are going to use nails, finishing nails with a nail gun, so that we don't have to glue it, because that's going to take too long and I don't want to think about all the clamps that would take. So we're going to nail those, but the actual posts coming down to the floor, we are still going to use the liquid nails, just because I like the smooth finish in that visual space. But that is all I have for you today. I hope you like how it's turning out so far, and I can't wait to see some of your projects and how you use this trick for a budget-friendly way to refinish your post and beams and make it look extra fancy. I will see you for our next video. Bye.